Let's see if I don't have a coughing fit right when Ayumi jumps in. Close. 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 I need to get a better hit than that. Let's get some emojis in chat, yeah? Some dabs and good vibes. And Garrett Chads. Yeah. Oh. Hello? Hello. MS7, thank you so much for the sub. Very much appreciated. I see things happening.
I'm here.
Yo, what up? Hello.
Hi.
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. I don't know what's going on with it.
No, it's totally fine. Let me try and fix this real quick. There we go. I had my smoke setup on. How are you doing? Thank you for dropping in.
Good. Yeah, this week has been really long, so I'm glad that it's like sort of over.
Yeah.
To look forward to.
It really does feel like everything's going by slower lately, right?
Super duper slow. And this is too right. There we go. Perfect.
You're like, too much shine.
Mm-hmm.
That background, though. Let's take a second for that background.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on?
I needed something that was unique for me.
Those are your anime waifus?
being a pervert, like, that sort of worked out perfectly, I guess.
Lovely. That works. So, I wanted to initially address you as, like, I didn't really know how to address you because you're a DJ, but you create a lot of different content. What do you kind of see yourself as? Like,
I don't know. Like,
for those unfamiliar,
really, like, consider it anything. Oh my god! I just realized, like, I have the Zoom like facial filters on, so that's why my lips are so dark.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't really put a name to any of it. I just sort of am myself, and I'm just very bored and also very, like, I need stuff to do constantly, or else, like, I'm just alone with my thoughts, and I'm not really into that much.
I definitely feel that. Yeah.
There it goes. There that goes. There we go. Okay. Good. Okay.
It looks great, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, this is what I actually look like.
I'm like, what changed?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I produce content, I DJ sometimes, and it's like I get up to a lot of stuff, and I'm just being me, I guess. Like, that's sort of
nice. That's awesome. No, I think that's the best way to kind of get into creating content, is not corral yourself into one type of thing and not try to, like, stick to one area. You know, I think boredom is a big part of it. Like, even with the studio, like, I never set out to create this. It was just kind of like, hey, I'm bored. What can I put together when I don't want to work? You know, and it's just that kind of thing. But yeah, I've noticed you do a lot of DJing gigs. When did you get into that?
I started DJing like 10 years ago, actually. This is going to be like my 10-year anniversary of this summer, I think. I have always really liked music, and I started sort of mixing, like pre-mixing things using a program called Mixmeister that, like, I still use sometimes.
Oh, nice.
And that's just something that you use, like, to create stuff that you would just press play on and not even worry about it. So that's how I sort of learned, like, beat matching and sort of, like, learning about keys and what sounds good and what doesn't. And from there, I met some friends who were DJs, named Tiger Stripe. That was like 2010, I guess, that I met them.
Well, that's
And
quite a while
they sort of took me on as an apprentice. And so I just started learning more about actual like live DJing. And so it sort of went from there. And I've been doing it ever since, kind of.
Nice. So, where do you find yourself, kind of aiming towards with DJing? Is it the live gigs? Is it online content? Is it produced content for like shows, or what kind of things do you like to get into?
I prefer it live. Like I like to be around people and sort of like gauge a mood and sort of act accordingly. Like that's sort of like my modus when it comes to DJing. Most of the time, sometimes I'm just like being an asshole and playing whatever I want. And people appreciate that too, because they get to hear like really strange stuff and all of that. Because of COVID, like my career as a DJ just halted for a little bit. And now that the bars are opening again, like ever since this thing that happened yesterday where the CDC is saying you don't have to wear your mask indoors anymore, like everybody's hitting me up for their gigs now, and I'm just like, oh, I don't have time for this.
Hey, that's great to hear though. I'm glad you're getting hit up for gigs for sure. Everything's starting to open back up.
I'm feeling good about getting to say no to people.
Yeah, right? It's a nice feeling to be able to have a little bit of control over your work, and because you have to feel good about it too. You have to feel creative at the time. You have to feel into it in order to make something great. So I do have some questions about kind of playing those kinds of sets, but I was going to let the chat kind of ask a question. They're shouting out Tiger Stripe, saying, was that Emily Bot and Fabitron? I'm not sure what that means.
Emily Bot and Fabitron were the two members of Tiger Stripe.
Oh, okay, nice.
Fabi, I believe, lives in Mexico now, and Emily is in somewhere in the Midwest. I forget where exactly.
Okay, nice.
Like Chattanooga.
Chattanooga. I know some of those names, man. You mentioned kind of playing some sets more for yourself than other people. Are there any sets that are just kind of like fun troll sets? Are there any sets that are just outdated or fun to bring back? Or what do you think?
I sort of play it by ear most of the time. And I know that in any given set, I'm going to have at least like one or two trolling songs. Like,
nice.
I honestly love Rick Astley. So anytime I get to play,
perfect.
I live for that.
That's amazing. Never let the meme die, for sure. I think that's kind of almost an expected thing now in DJ sets, right? Like even in the big name gigs, there's always something to break it up in between that kind of makes it funny or interesting, right? It's kind of like the drop, expecting that drop and getting something else. It's nice. So that's great to hear. I also had some questions about your advocacy. I noticed that you do a lot for the LGBTQ youth, and I have seen you work with the Epicenter before. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do there?
Well, at the Epicenter, I am the LGBTQ plus services coordinator.
Nice.
So basically what that means is that I run any programming that happens to involve LGBTQ plus youth. And so with that, I have a pool of volunteers, I guess, or they're more like interns, called the Queer and Trans Youth Collective. And so they sort of inform what type of programming that we end up doing, and sort of help me like determine like what we need to be doing more of, what our young people are actually interested in and what they would like to do, what they need help with, and sort of go from there. And it's all about supporting our young people and making sure that they have the resources necessary to sort of thrive and like move forward in their lives, because it's really important. I feel like young people get sort of like forgotten when it comes to conversations about like who needs to be advocated for the most. And it's always been sort of my ethos that we need to foster our young people's minds and their skills and all of that, because they're the ones that are going to be taking care of us when we're all old.
Exactly, yeah. They're going to be literally the future. It's like they're running things as we get older and everything, and we have to kind of mold what we want that future to be. Like, is it going to be people who are contributing positively? Is it going to be people who lost their way because they didn't have that support? You know, things like that. I think it's great that you're doing that. Honestly, inspiring to see not just what you're doing, but even what Epicenter is doing as a whole. I'm constantly seeing not just emotional support, but events being done, food drives being done, and a lot of that isn't talked about as well. Like even just like it's easy to offer someone therapy, but if they actually need food or they need a washer and dryer, there's roadblocks that we don't really immediately think about. So what you guys are doing there is really great, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it definitely makes a tremendous difference in people's lives if someone is just willing to be like, here, you need something to eat, like we have that.
Yeah, I mean, most basic of needs, right?
We have that. Because not everybody is privileged enough to have the opportunity to have those things at the ready all the time.
Absolutely.
So that's sort of what informs my work as far as that goes. I started activism really young. I was 16 when I started. I was a community health outreach worker with the Monterey County AIDS Project. And so nice. I was 16, 17, handing out condoms and testing information to peers, basically, because I know how much the education system sort of fails us when it comes to like sexual health education. They only teach us so much, and it's like a week-long unit once as a teenager. Like,
I mean, even with the like more normative, I don't want to say normal, more, I guess, traditional relationship styles and sexual information and learning, it wasn't very, it wasn't very detailed either. It took a really long time to get any information out because obviously like questions or people not taking it seriously, or they just put on a video for all of us to kind of watch. And even as, a cis straight male, like I don't feel like I got much out of my health education either. And I feel like I was the one that was easy to explain it to because it was kind of like, traditional. But I can imagine what some people are going through not having the education about what they need to know about, especially when what they are being taught has nothing to do with their sexuality right now. They might
that, and then on the flip side of that, it's like, what's your other option? You go to the internet, and sometimes that's not the greatest place to go.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Another thing that we do with the Epicenter, or that we started during COVID, was we started a conversation with a doctor that works at Natividad Medical Center. Her name is Dr. Rose Lovell. And she's very passionate about LGBTQ plus healthcare, but especially like access to healthcare for trans people. And so we started doing this series of live streams called QT Health 831, where it was supposed to be monthly, but things come up, and so it's been sort of monthly. And so we're in the middle of a series about specifically talking about medical care for trans people, as far as what hormone therapy is like, what surgery is like, what you're going to need, what you're going to sort of what you'll need before to get approval, and then what you'll need after once it's done, and how you handle it from there. It's all really interesting to me because I'm not a trans person and I don't really come from that experience, but like there's things that I didn't know about that I didn't even consider that I've learned through this process. And I think it's really important for us to sort of know these things so that if we encounter people that are struggling, like we know what to tell them, where to send them, what resources are available to them, because it's important. Everybody deserves to be happy and healthy and all of that. So
absolutely, because I mean, it's not even just, I'm sorry for cutting you off kind of, it's not even just the support. Like I was a teacher. I taught for quite a few years, and I've had students who were trans, and I felt like I was super supportive. I respected all of their pronouns and wishes, and even just that little bit of respect had an impact. And even with that support, later on you find out that they were still struggling with things that probably could have gotten help, like education on what exactly transitioning entails and what the medicine does. Later on, I ended up finding out one of my students had some pretty large troubles after going through a transition, after the medicine they were taking was affecting their body in ways that they weren't aware of. And I think even things like that is important to know. Not that it was, a good or bad decision, but it should be something that at least we're all aware of, and we can make our own decisions with that knowledge, instead of just saying, hey, it's okay, like, be whatever you want to be and everything's going to be fine. There are some realities that we have to consider as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's important. So it's great that you guys are doing that. I've actually seen a lot of, I'm not sure if you were a part of that. I saw the Natividad and a few other groups at the Salinas Valley Pride celebrations. So I'm not sure if that, go ahead.
Yeah, I was part of the group for 8 years, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was sort of co-chair with Luna. I was watching your episode with Luna earlier, by the way.
Very cool.
To familiarize myself with the process. And yeah, like I was involved with Luna for a very long time, doing those types of things.
It's great to hear. Sorry that I also talked to so much. I literally just kind of ran.
Oh no, it's fine. This is how I have conversations normally. Like they'll go every direction, and then I'll never remember where. But yeah, getting the community involved when it comes to things like that, it's always been a passion of mine as well, just because I want community. Like I thrive for that. When I was young, like starting out, it's like I was starting my own programming just because like nobody else was doing it, and or people were doing it and they needed support, so I jumped on that, and then they had to go do other things, or so I would sort of take that stuff on as well. And so my involvement with Pride, like that sort of was informed by that. Like someone needs to do it, and if I want it done a certain way, I need to do it myself. So
right, sometimes it's the only way, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what kind of programming would you create, not just for Pride itself, but for the Epicenter and for your own gigs?
As far as the Epicenter goes, we've started well, since shelter in place happened, we've started to have to move things to like a virtual format. And so we were having like a monthly sort of drop-in support group for LGBTQ plus youth.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, now that we're like all sheltered in place and we can't go anywhere, and things like we're just stuck in the house all the time, like a whole new like set of issues is going to come up for us. And so I started a weekly sort of drop-in support group type of thing called Sharing Circle Online. And we've been doing that weekly since I think April. And it's just like really, really casual sort of social support. Building networks of support for our youth is very important.
Absolutely.
Especially if they happen to be like closeted and they're stuck at home with their parents who don't know and might be homophobic, or they might not understand. And trying to find a way where they can have a space to just sort of decompress, be themselves, talk to people that are going through the same things that they're going through. It's proven pretty helpful for the youth participants that we've had so far. And so I'm really excited about that. And now that things are opening up again, it's like I still want to be able to do that at least once a month, where it's like we can offer that virtually for people that don't want to engage in person, because I know that leaving shelter in place, which is apparently happening pretty soon, things are going to just feel weird for a lot of people. There's a lot of fear assigned to it, which is like, I honestly think it's good, because we need to be more careful about stuff. Like we have lived way too long with being like laissez-faire about disease and about transmission and about like common cold and all of that. Like there's ways around it, and they're really simple ways to get around it. So that's something that I'm really like, that I feel really passionate about, is just giving people space to sort of be themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really important that you guys are doing that too, for on kind of both ways that it's helping, because you mentioned that some people might not want to show up in person, but I think it's kind of the opposite as well. A lot of people look forward to showing up in person and going to the Epicenter and going to those events and hanging out and having that outlet of social time. And then when that went away, I'm sure it pretty anxiety inducing for a lot of people, just to not have that circle of trust and people that you can be yourself with without having a negative reaction or feeling unsafe. So I'm really glad that you're one of the companies that transitioned to doing, or I guess not companies, organizations that transition to doing things online, because not everyone did. Not everyone kind of moved online. They're just like, hey, we're shut down and we'll see you when everything's over, and then everyone's just kind of like left in the dust. So knowing that you guys kept on doing the work you do and providing that space, whether it be online or not, is really cool. And yeah, I think if you guys can support it, that would be great to keep on doing it in the future.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, the thing I worry about, like going back to quote unquote normal, is the capacity, because I know that there were days where we would have like 50 kids like at the center, like just all gallivanting, being crazy and just loud and all of that, and like it's great, but like what are we going to have to do if it's like 25% of that? That's like what, 12 people? Like are there going to be people that feel left out, or are there going to be people that are not going to stick around because there's not enough people there, like to engage with?
And it's not even like you could. I mean, you can change the space temporarily or for certain events, but it's like kind of the space that makes it what it is, as well. But yeah, I could definitely see that being an issue, and hopefully it I don't want to say clears up, because that's not exactly how it works, but I hope that we're able to go back to a spot where we can feel comfortable in a safe way as well, because I think those are really useful services that you guys provide for sure.
Mm-hmm. And so to sort of answer the other part of your question, I have my home bar in San Jose that like I was working at basically every weekend before the shutdowns happened, and it's called Renegades Bar. And since bars were sort of the places that were most affected by shutdowns, as far as like being sort of the last things to be able to open up again, we have, or the owners have struggled to keep up with rent, because like there's no rent forgiveness for bars in particular.
Right.
For most businesses, I would think. I'm not 100 on that, but so there came a point where it's like we need to generate income somehow, or else we're just not going to be there when this is over. And so we collaborated on starting a Twitch channel. So it's twitch.tv/Renegades Bar, and we do content every Saturday night starting at 8. And the main focus of it is fundraising. It's like inviting everybody that used to go to the bar every weekend and saying, well, let's meet up virtually and sort of try to do the same kinds of things that we were doing when we were at the bar.
Yeah.
So two out of the 4 weekends every month are drag shows. So we have one called Cattle Call, which is like sort of an entry level or open mic kind of situation where you just submit videos basically of your performances. And it's like, it can be drag, it can be singing, it can be just weird video content, like anything like that. And we'll play it. And
dude, I love that. That's such a great idea.
At the end of the night, we'll share like people's Venmos and things like that so that they can get tipped out as well. But the main focus of it is like sort of taking donations for the bar. And then the other show we have is Woo Woo Circus, which is a show that we used to do live before.
Oh yeah, I heard of that. Yeah.
And so yeah, I took Joey there once and it was really fun.
Oh nice. That's awesome.
But so yeah, that's like our like sort of flagship show that gets the most viewers because people recognize the brand a little bit more. And so that is more like top tier virtual drag content. And so that one we're actually doing tomorrow on Renegades Twitch. So it's me if you want to check that.
No, for sure, yeah.
And then the other 2 Saturdays of the month, myself and one of my friends who's a drag queen named Alpha Andromeda do a show called Action and Drama, which is where we
clever.
We play music videos and just talk shit. Like it's sort of it's been a way for me to sort of like DJ
Yeah.
by like curating content basically, and then in the middle of it hang out with my friends, because that was like the two things that I would love the most about being at the bar, is playing music and then getting to see people or talk to people, hang out with people. And so that's been really fun for me, and it's given me something to do over shelter in place, because like there were moments there where I'm just like laying in my bed, like I wish I had an idea of what else to do, because I am tapped out, but I am bored as fuck and I don't want to like, I don't know what to do. So luckily that came in hot for me. And so I'm not sure what the future of it is going to be, because the bar is open now. However, we're not really like in a sort of we're not able to do live performing like right now.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it brings in too many people or something like that.
Yeah, everything's still outdoors, so you can't really go into the bar. So we have like a little patio set up and all of that. But once those things start going again, it's like it's like with sharing circle as well. Like once we're able to sort of convene in person again, like is all this virtual stuff just going to go away? Because I kind of don't want it to.
Yeah, I hope not.
I also have to be sort of like equitable for myself and for the people that I'm working with, as far as what is going to work for them, what is going to make them money, what is going to make them feel safe and healthy and all of that, while also like performing, doing the art that they some of them sort of left behind. And yeah, so it's going to be like an interesting process moving forward when it comes to these virtual shows and things like that. Just because we don't know what's really going to happen. Everything's so up in the air, and it's just a weird feeling at the moment to sort of be like, I want to say yes to this or I want to say no to this, but I have no idea what's going to happen like 2 weeks from now, even.
Right. Well, I will say personally, I hope it does stick around. I think Twitch has become a really interesting and profitable opportunity in a lot of ways, especially for entertainment company like that, like Renegade's Bar, where even when you do start going back in person, I can see a value in broadcasting the live events online as well. Just because, you know, you can always get 100 people into a building, but you can't get 10,000 in a building, you know, and there's always that potential of online where it's the biggest room of all and you can have as many people in as you want. So I think if it isn't too cost prohibitive, I think it's actually something that can be really beneficial. And because even with how you're saying after COVID, it's not going to be the same, and people aren't going to always or all feel comfortable going back to normal, because, you know, it's kind of a new normal, you know. I think there are a lot of people who would find value in online content and being able to still experience those events, even if they don't want to go to necessarily all of them. So,
Totally.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can really prosper on that one. And they could see.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Alpha sort of about like what she thought the future of this was going to be, and like as far as like our music video show, it's just like it'll be fun to like get back out there and all of that, but sometimes you just want to like hang out but like not have to get dressed. or not have to like be in a social environment with like all kinds of people. And like I know that there have been moments that we've been back at the bar where it's just like there's a lot of people around me and I feel crazy, like what, this isn't right, like this
well, it's like sensory overload. It's kind of like the whole like I don't know the meaning behind it, but I've seen the gear of like antisocial social club, you know. It's like being on YouTube or being on Zoom or Twitch is comfortable because you're in your own space, you're in a safe space, you're alone or with a friend, and you're comfortable. And if you want to interact with someone, you can, but you're still alone talking to a camera. It's a really big difference to actually be in a room full of people who are all having their own conversations and talking and bumping into each other and everything's going on at once. It's kind of anxiety inducing, to be honest. So I mean, there's at the same time, like I love some of the events, but you really have to be in a certain mind space. So like some days you really feel like getting out there and being all over the place and, you know, moshing at a concert, but other days you just want to listen to a music video at home, you know. So do you have merch? I've seen you making some different things, right?
I do have a merch site. I like no one really buys stuff, but I also haven't updated it in almost like a year.
That's what it's like for all of us, but we don't tell people.
No,
Just kidding. What kind of things are you making?
Well, the stuff that I have up, I have 3 shirts, a tank top, and a hoodie. Or not a hoodie, it's just a sweatshirt. That's what's up right now.
Nice.
And if you go to ayumi.pizza,
I love the domain, by the way. Yeah.
It's like a sort of link page where you can access all of those things. So I have my merch site, I have the Renegades Twitch, and then I have my actual website, which I haven't updated in a very long time.
At some point?
What was that?
Weren't you making like a pin or something, or didn't you make something like that a while back?
I had pins, yeah. I was just giving those away though.
Oh, okay. I thought you were selling those too.
No, pins and stickers I just sort of give away.
Okay, well those are sick. I'd buy a pin. I'll check out your merch site. I didn't see the sweatshirts or t-shirts, but I'll check it out.
Totally.
So do you also do and perform drag, or is it something you like to do?
I used to.
Okay.
But there came a point where I started it because I needed sort of a gimmick kind of to set me apart from other DJs. Because like you probably know this from experience, everybody in Salinas is a DJ. Like everybody.
There's a lot of DJs, yeah.
So like with the market so saturated, I needed a leg up somehow, and so I sort of chose that.
That's interesting. Right.
And
I feel like it usually comes like drag first, and then you get into entertainment, and then you have entertainment, and then drag.
Right. So that was sort of a gimmick that kind of worked for me, because I started booking like drag DJ gigs off of that, and so people would just like want me to DJ in drag like at their show, or sort of do both, or start any sort of like gay night basically anywhere. And I would just sort of be there already.
So are you self-made, or do you have were you like ushered into drag? Do you have like a drag mother?
I don't have a drag mother. I just sort of started on my own, and you can tell. I think that my drag was like really ugly, but I also thought that was the point of
I thought it was cool. Yeah.
I had some hits, but I had a lot of misses. But
whenever it's a miss, you just call it camp drag, and everyone enjoys it, right?
Basically. And so I ended up getting my gig at Circus at Renegades because of that. And then it started out as me just sort of guest DJing for the DJ that was there full time. And then after that, eventually they were moving on to other things, and they ended up moving away. And so the bar needed a new DJ to sort of take over, and I was like already acclimated to the culture there, and like people knew me there, so like it felt like a great idea. And so I started doing that, and then Renegades just sort of became my home as far as DJing goes. Like that's where I DJ the most.
That's awesome. I actually haven't I did a little bit of research, and I didn't even hear about Renegade Bar, so I'll have to check them out for sure. I just saw that was it you on their account that followed me before the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I saw they followed me. So I was like, oh, Renegade's Bar, nice, okay. But I didn't know that it was affiliated with you, so that's interesting. I'll definitely check them out. What do you see for the future of Ayumi? Is it Ayumi or Ayumi?
It's Ayumi. Ayumi.
Ayumi?
That's how I say it. Ayumi.
I was overthinking it before the show.
I don't correct anybody because it's the same words. Like
it's all good. Nice, yeah.
But as far as the future goes,
it's not like anime and anime. If you say it wrong, everyone gets all pissed off.
But yeah, I mean, I always want to like high horse everything about like how I feel about things, but
no,
like
it's fine.
When people get hung up about language and stuff, it's like not everybody has the opportunity to sort of develop language like the way that other people do, and it's important not to make fun of them for it, unless they are open to being made fun of for it. Like,
right. And it's important because not all of us are English language speakers, and even the ones that are English language speakers, we make mistakes just as fast, you know. So, I mean, there's no reason to make fun of anyone. I stumble on words all the time.
And then like seeing these assholes being like, "Speak English. This is America." It's like,
oh,
do you speak any other language, bitch?
Literally.
it's always someone who barely can speak English properly. Like,
You use a little bit of education yourself there.
I hate that. But anyway, as far as my future goes, I want to keep doing the work that I'm doing as far as advocacy work goes, and as far as like building community for the LGBTQ plus people in our communities, and also especially those people in the community that are further marginalized. So people of color, trans people, non-binary people, all of those people that need uplifting a little bit more than just your average cisgender white male that gets all the attention, you know? So I want to be able to advocate more for them at whatever capacity I'm able to. And I'm just looking into every opportunity that I can get to sort of do that. And just as a means of creating equity for people, because like we all deserve the same shot, and whether or not people like accept it or not, people that are fairer skinned, who are who act within the bounds of their gender in society, like all of those people have a leg up, and we need to sort of like make space for everybody. And yeah, like that's sort of my main focus. As far as entertainment goes, I would love to continue doing hosting work, because as I've like sort of taken on the role of producing and also like being on-air talent for Renegades Bar, like it's been a lot of fun. Like I want to, and like it had always been my goal as a kid to sort of be a VJ on MTV.
Oh, nice.
So like doing these shows is kind of me doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of fun, and like I want to keep pursuing it if I can. And then DJing is fun, and I can that's the easy one. Like I can get gigs. Like people are knocking down my door now, and I don't want to say yes to all of it. Like,
well, honestly, that's great to hear, because you deserve it. Honestly, I've seen you like sharing content from like seemingly, well, not as much lately. I will say you haven't posted as much lately, but you post like literally almost every week a different area of expertise. Like you're like, oh, hey, I'm doing a DJ gig here, and oh, like I'm just releasing this, and oh, I'm going to be over here at this place, and oh, I'm working with the Epicenter. Like I love to see people just working, just putting in work and creating cool stuff and making an impact. And I think you really are making a huge impact.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Sure.
I think it's important for all of us to sort of like do our part as far as what we're good at or what we're passionate about even, and just keep it moving, just like for the culture, for society, for those that don't have the same privileges that we do, like keep it moving, and like keep uplifting each other. Like that's the best thing we could do.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So before we get into shout outs, it's kind of a tradition that whenever we have someone new on the show who shows faith and drops on, even though I'm literally a nobody, I show them a little love and put something into the studio that's kind of in honor of them. So I made you something, and I'm going to try and get over here really slowly because I have a second secret. So I'm going to go this way. Here's DJ Luna's, there's Emma's, and then I got you. I got you the official AyumiPlease Pretty Guardian Scepter of Love. It's amazing.
That is so cool.
And I think I even have, let me see if the effects work. Yep.
Yeah.
So with lots of love.
That's awesome. I love that.
Awesome. I'm glad. I do have an area for your set to show up. We're going to have your set right here on stage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to start that shortly. Before we do that, do you have any shout outs?
I do just want to like plug all of the shit that I'm up to right now. So
Nice.
Let's see. If you are interested in anything that I'm doing as far as DJing and drag and bar stuff and merch and all of that, you can go to ayumi.pizza. So AYUMI.pizza. And all of the links to everything are there. Twitch.tv/renegadesbar. We do content every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific. And half of the time it's drag content, the other half is just music, and we just like to have fun and talk shit, and it's amazing. If you are interested in QT Health 831, which is our LGBTQ plus healthcare series, you can access that on the Epicenter's YouTube page. All of the episodes are hosted there. And we don't have a URL yet because we have like 14 followers, I think. But if you search Epicenter of Monterey, you can find it on YouTube. And then, or you can go to solo.to/epicenter, and there's links to all of that there as well.
Nice.
And I just want to give shout outs to all my drag sisters and everybody that's watching right now, everybody that likes to have fun, everybody that isn't an asshole. Like we love and appreciate you. So y'all deserve to be celebrated just as much as I do. So
nice. Thank you so much, Ayumi. Thank you for dropping by the show. I'm a huge fan, and I'm really appreciative that you came in and I got to chat for a little bit. I hope to have you on again if you're down, and
Totally.
kind of get some updates on what you're up to then. So yeah, you were nice enough to prepare a little set for the show, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on now, and I'll show you kind of how it starts, and then we'll drop out of the call after, and I'll meet you in IG.
awesome.
So let's see if I can get this working. This is my first time trying a live thing. Let's see.
So
All right, it's working.
nice.
And as the second surprise,
That's awesome.
all right, so I'll let this play for a bit, and we'll end it once the set's over. I'll catch you on IG. Everyone enjoy the set by AyumiPlease.